Hey everyone, today we're making watermelon mint sorbet. So we got our watermelon here. I'm just gonna bring this all over to my kitchen table. Let's see if I can get this instead, just because the light here is a little bit better. And we have a mint plant that we're actually working with today because the market did not have just a plain bunch of mint, so that's what we're doing. I'm gonna grab a bowl so that we can just get our mint all picked off and washed. So you can go with it like as much as you want, but I'm going to do a good handful. If you want, we'll see how much is good, but if you wanted like direct measurement, I would probably say about a quarter, third of a cup of mint leaves, and this just depends on how much mint you want in there, how mint forward you want it to be. The watermelon is pretty mellow, as you probably know, so the mint gives it a little bit of grassiness. And we're also going to put some lime in there just to brighten that up. Take this guy with us to the sink, just give it a good wash, just to really get whatever is on those, especially because these were outside, just to get whatever is on there off, because this will be going into our simple syrup and blended with the watermelon later on, so all of this is going into our mix. All right, that looks about good to me. Now I'm going to grab my pot that we will be using for our simple syrup. I can put this guy back here. And I'm gonna start by getting our sugar, which this is just plain white sugar, measuring cup. Oh. And here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna throw the mint in with some of the sugar. We're gonna go with about, we're gonna go with half a cup to start. There's gonna be a full cup total. Come on, that's about half. Okay, good. So we're gonna throw that in there. A little splash of water just to get everything moving, because we're going to muddle the mint just a little bit to get all of our flavors out. Take a wooden spoon and we're gonna just gently kind of like twist, and the sugar kind of like gives you a little bit of grit in there to get all of those oils of the mint released for the most part. So you're just gonna kind of gently twist with your wooden spoon. You could do this if you have a nice big mortar and pestle, you could do it in that with a little bit of your sugar, but I'm just doing it in here to keep it easy. And at this point you'll really be able to smell the mint, so that's when you kind of know that you're getting what we really want here of pressing those oils out. Okay. That looks about good to me for now. And we can leave this here. I'm gonna throw in my other half cup of sugar. That looks good. And now I'm gonna get some water in there because a simple syrup is 1 part sugar, 1 part water. And measuring cup. I'm gonna go with some filtered water because why not? So that goes in there. Now I'm gonna put this on, throw my spoon in there on low heat. And we're just gonna not touch it. Sugar should dissolve into the water, and at that point we'll know that it's ready. It shouldn't be boiling. Shouldn't be bubbling, it's just gonna chill out until the sugar is dissolved. Okay, so while that's going, we're going to break down our watermelon. These guys back here. You could definitely do this with a whole watermelon if you have a smaller one. You could double the recipe if you have a big whole watermelon. But again, our market had these wedges, so that's what I will be going with for today. And just break this down as you normally would. I will be cutting it into wedges and then just clearing that rind off. Grab my knife. Right, let's get this going. Do one of these at a time. Check on our simple syrup. Hi, Lucille. All right, see that's going. That's starting to bubble a teeny bit, so I'm just gonna actually put that on simmer. But as you can see, a lot of that sugar is already dissolving, so that is where we want it to be going. We're just gonna, here, want some? Ooh. Whoops. I'm actually just gonna use one of these, Ma, because I thought I needed more. So freaking good.
Is the watermelon good?
Yeah. Thank you. Throw this guy in the sink. Lucille got her watermelon, now she wants more.
You don't want to?
What?
You don't want to?
I feel like this is, right, it's just gonna get blended up. Do you think we need more?
Unless you're bored cutting it.
Well, I'll cut it up for,
Well, cut it in case you need it and cut it to eat.
no, I'm just gonna blend this all. I think this is gonna be plenty. Okay. That is good. Alright. I get to the sink. And again, back on our simple syrup, you can see that that's pretty much dissolved, or almost dissolved, so that is looking good. And I'm just gonna help it along here a teensy bit to get that sugar moving. And you can smell it too. You can even kind of press down gently with your spoon again while it's on the heat. But you can help it along by stirring. Taste it just to make sure that it has that mint flavor in it as we want it to. Yeah. Okay, Google. Skip. Sorry, John Mellencamp. And that's about Good. So we're gonna get our limes actually, and our, oh shoot, I needed that cutting board. I'll grab another one. Small guy. And our limes are going to go into the blend, not the whole lime, the lime juice. And some zest is going to go into the blender with our watermelon and mint simple syrup as well, just to kind of brighten everything up. If I could find a microplane. And blender. So, blender, our simple syrup looks like it is ready. So we're gonna take that off the heat, bring that over here with a towel. It smells lovely. And all right, so I'm gonna get my blender plugged in, and okay, so we're gonna start by getting our watermelon into here. And it looks like we're gonna have to do this in batches, which is fine. But I imagine as we do our first batch, that will just kind of give up a little bit of the extra space that you can see in there. So I'm gonna put this, let's do the first round. Hello, okay. Is that it? Okay. Let's roll. And as you can see, that gave up like half of the volume that was in there. Throw the extra ones in there. And then we're also going to add in our mint simple syrup, which is still a little warm. You can cool it if you'd like, but I'm not doing that. And we're putting the mint in there too, just to make sure we get all that flavor. And before we do that, get that blended, I'm gonna get these limes zested. We'll zest one of them and then juice all three. The lime juice just kind of brightens everything up. It'll go nicely with the mint and bring a little much needed sourness. And I would recommend just rolling your limes out. It'll soften them up a little bit, get some juice going. Now when you zest the lime, you want to make sure that you're not getting that bitter white part into there. You're just sticking with the green outer. That'll give you the most flavor, honestly. All right. Now this recipe can also, I have an ice cream churn, which I got for, I think my 14th birthday, which honestly one of the best birthday gifts I've ever gotten because I use it all the time. But if you don't have an ice cream churn, you can also do this granita style. So you'll follow all the steps that I'm doing right now, and instead of throwing it into your ice cream churn, you can just put it in like a 9x13 baking dish, and you throw that in the freezer, and every 45 minutes you go in and scrape the dish. The outside edges should be frozen with a fork, and you keep doing that until you get this kind of like icy dessert. It's really good. I would recommend if you don't have a churn. I'm gonna juice these guys. Throw that blender on one last time to get the last of our watermelon blended up, and then our mint in there. Also our lime incorporated. All right, and that should be good. We're going to taste it first. Whoops. Let's see what we got. Yep. Perfectly sweet, and you get that mint in there. And the lime is nice because it just breaks everything up a little bit. Get this blade out. Okay. Now straining this will just kind of get it a little bit more homogeneous. But I'm actually going to chop up some more fresh mint before we get this into the ice cream churn to get that color and a little bit more of that flavor into there. And you can press this pulp down just to get all of that juice out. That looks awesome. And in between batches that you strain, you can just empty this because it does start to build up and get in the way a little bit. Press this a little more. Okay, and again, that's our last bit of pulp. So we're about good. All right, now this is going to, let's give it another little taste. Good. Does need more mint, so we're gonna have this chill in the fridge. Really important step, because especially if you're doing a sorbet or something in the ice cream churn, you want it really cold before you put it in there. Just because if you don't, it will A, take a long time to churn, and B, you'll get kind of like these ice crystals in it that aren't the best. So for most pleasing outcome, you will want to have that nice and cold. You wanna go outside? Go ahead. Go on. Go on. All right. So, I'm gonna let that chill in the fridge. That'll probably take a few hours. You can throw it in the freezer to speed it up. But yeah, that's gonna chill in the fridge, and then I'll be back to throw it in the ice cream machine once that's done. All right, everyone, we are back. It has been a few hours, and our sorbet base is chilling in the fridge still. We're gonna take that out in a few minutes. But earlier I tasted the sorbet and I wasn't happy with the amount of mint that was in there, so I want to get a little bit more just chopped up so we can bring out a little more of that fresh flavor, and it also just brings a little bit of color into that sorbet because before we strained it and all of the mint was taken out. So just giving it a pretty decent chop. That should be good. All right, now I'm gonna get our base from the fridge. It's been chilling for a few hours and that's looking lovely. And we're gonna throw that mint into there. And before I mentioned that you could make this granita style, which would be great, but you could also do this with a popsicle mold and make watermelon mint popsicles. And if you do that, I recommend that you leave some extra mint leaves instead of chopping it up the way I just did. You can leave them whole and put a few into the popsicle molds before you pour in your base, and then freeze that up because it would look beautiful, as well as providing that extra mint flavor. So I'm going to get my ice cream machine is there, packaged up. That's minus the frozen barrel. So we're going to venture into my seemingly never-ending freezer. Get that out of here. Okay. So that's the freezer part. It's been sitting in there for a few weeks, so I'm just gonna take a dry towel and get whatever random freezer crumbs out of it. All right, that's good. Okay. So we have that, and now my trusty Cuisinart. I'm just gonna pour this guy right on in. Should fill up. Yeah. So this is gonna make a lot of sorbet. Maybe even too much. So I'm gonna hold on to that extra. We're gonna do something with that. Turn this onto sorbet. And that's just gonna go. It usually takes about 40 minutes. But just keep an eye on it. And yeah, I'll be back when it's starting to harden up. All right, we are back and our sorbet is mostly churned. I had a little bit of trouble with this, or the machine had a little bit of trouble with this. It might have just been the sheer volume, but the paddle kept lifting up as it froze. So I'm just going to take it out now. Should be good. As you can see, it's still like slightly watery, but mix that all up and get that combined. Okay, so now this is the real trick is all right, so we're gonna snap this up and find a spot in our packed freezer. Just get it even in that ice. Doesn't all sink to one side. And that is that. I will see you in probably about 6 hours once we finally get that scooped out. But for now,